Hello. This is in English, and this for very long had not been my mother tongue, my first language. We now have January the 7th in 2024, and it is important to understand that this is as some kind of private detective work, and something fell down, and it is not cut. And this is important because I had much time. It was a gap in the corona crisis, in the pandemic 2019 and forward, and most of it that I now try to understand. I go back in my memory, and it is not easy, but when I take some little things in my hand, the remembrance is triggered, and this is interesting. It goes back to this day, even to the time when I was as a baby, and it was even before this. When I was raised somewhere. Later, when I had remembrance, it was told, no, you are born here on this and that place. So it was not reflected. And I want to tell you things that have to do with my family history. And for me it was a normal circumstance that this is Germany after World War II on the map. The military history of the family was not communicated, not openly, but I was close to the family. I was a boy, I think because of my difficult birth, that was in the family without television, and I was there when the adults were talking about things, and understood it is an environment different to that here in Germany. Those are nearly, no, they are not. The areas then governed after 1945, those were governed by the Allied forces, and it was the US in the south. I don't know exactly. The British were in the north, and the French had a little bit, and the Belgian, maybe also the Dutch, and I don't know about the Danish. So it was not communicated in a chronological way, but I overheard many things. I was there as a child. I can remember lying in a basket, and an adult said, if you pretend to be sleeping, so close your eyes, then maybe you will hear interesting things. Of course, this is an age when this was not happening anymore. I have not too many pictures, and now I remember I had been quite a lot in the United States and on other places, and it was not explained to me. There was someone, the mother said to me she couldn't travel for unknown reasons, or she wasn't, but I understood that because she was asking me, tell me precisely what you've seen and how they were behaving, and this was even before that age. And now I'm at a loss. It began 2019, she said to me, and I started to find things, and this is in the Bible of my mother, and this is not prepared, but I think I will tell you a little bit about this piece of paper. It is a little bit smaller, and she once said, when I was asking her, don't you have anything about the missing father? I knew and understood this is an identity card from the post office, and it was used internationally. That is the father, and it was not communicated too much, but I learned he was my father, but for the outside world, I should not play it. It wasn't explained, but there he is the grandfather. And the parents, they were, those are my real parents. I think biologically this was intended. And the real parents, they were parents. So I said to them, Mom and Dad. And later, in between, when I was asking, I had to go to the wanted result in a way that I was not asking too much. So it had to do with the war, and they understood. They had disputes. Here's Breslau. In that town, my mother was, when the Hitler regime was putting in place its ideology. And those two, they were in some position that they had the possibilities to hinder some effects. This is Breslau, but it wasn't told me as a story. I heard much about it, and in my understanding, the world was, in my childish understanding as a child, the world was evil, and luckily this now was all over. Officially, I was registered in 68, but I was not allowed to ask too much. It was not sure when. And I was registered. Now I understand. It was when I was back in Germany. So this is the officially registered birth date. And this year, what I'm trying to do is to come back to some, I don't know, old roots. Maybe you can call them that way. And the times were evil, and they were even that evil that he was trying to find similar-minded. And this he brought back and said to my mother, maybe that is something for you also. It was 1945, I think, or 44. And he was growing older and older, my mother said, because everything was so desperate. And this video, I think, turned out to explain what I'm doing. I have the puzzle pieces, the own eyewitness memories, but the problem I cannot say it for sure, but the problem is, when I started, I can say for sure what happened, but not why. About the motives, I cannot tell you for sure. I was in a retraining process, and there was a mistake. The wrong diagnoses came into the file of the retraining program, and this was very annoying, but I thought it is an error. You can't do anything. But during the Corona crisis, I thought the system was totally overreacting immediately, because I understood when stumbling across in my eyesight, across proof, not only evidences, but real proof for that what had happened during the time of the Hitler regime, that was too big to wait till after the crisis. But when I started to ask, people were not reacting at all, because they had not my travels. My eyewitness accounts about what was extraordinary, those were abroad, those remembrances as a little boy. And this gave me ground to think about what could be the reason for those extraordinarities. Now I have here some stupid things. I think if people could see me, they themselves would think, this is stupid. This must be an error of some, don't know, too much in the facility being doctors. I have no religious, openly communicated ideas at all. I was going there and I was in trouble. Then I asked for a pastor, because I thought maybe he can help me to solve the mistake. And here I now found an explanation for the extraordinarities in the, in my eyesight, hidden descent lines. And those go back in the military family, I think on the mother's side, maybe aristocratic nobility. And here are mistakes. I was not thinking about the founding of a company or of a publishing firm. I was telling things and they work very unprecise, and write that down. This could help me, but the problem is this is now in the files, and this was a mistake. I have some illnesses, so I had to go to the doctor, and in the retraining program it is, I don't like them, it is an obligation to go to psychiatrists, because the retraining program wants to secure, and this is an obligation for everyone, not for the sick only, and they had then some errors, but I cannot explain why this happened. When I was asking, this is a drawing, a little bit of, to raise awareness, where are, this is German, but where are memories built, not as monuments, but to remember. Breslau, this is now Wrocław, because Breslau, one corner of the city, it was extraordinary as well. So I have too many extraordinarities that people thought I was crazy, and they gave me the diagnoses. In Breslau it was believing motivation, a motivation of believers to withstand, and maybe this is the father, or it is a look-alike. So I have no proof, but the evidences that show in that direction. And this is my mother. It was a time when she was falsely, I think, but the specialists do not hear what you say. They look at the patient. She was falsely, I think, regarded, and this was not officially, but people said she's making up things. They acknowledged in 1991, this is 95, that she was a diplomat, but politicians said it was, I don't know if it was the president, it was in his office, he looked like him. He was saying in the diplomatic corps they played a role. So she is making up things, and it was now I think impossible. If I had started that successor career as a diplomat with a wrong idea to be of descent, in Germany this is not playing a role anymore, but in the other parts of Europe maybe it is. And please understand, I am not allowed to say, I am asking, and I'm telling, this must be something hidden. And this maybe was done because it was possible. There were dangers. The father, he was a military leader, and there was, later I learned about it, surveillance. People thought there would come Nazis to us. This was not true. As a child I would have recognized them. The Nazi regime was regarded evil. It was an evil environment. This is my worldview. It was communicated from all the members of the family. But governmental, securities, they maybe thought ex-leaders would come here. So there was surveillance, and then in 1986 I saw in a file, I was not allowed to copy anything, but there were errors. Supposedly I would have been in a prison as an inmate. I wasn't. And I said, this is wrong. I complained, and no reaction. They said, maybe this is a mistake, but it has no result, no effect. And now when I come to the point that I have to, I have to go open, to show myself, that people do not think I cannot talk, because there was an unwanted, on this basis, an unwanted meddling in my private affairs by state entities. And I came to many conclusions. I must ask, because those are precise and good for me, to ask if the birthplace United States had been withheld. The first conclusion was London, then it was South Africa, but then I came across a building. It could have been Memorial, and it was 1967. This is the first thing I want to know, but I will stay grounded, because those false diagnoses are in the files, and I want to know even more. And this must be made possible, because I think in the diplomatic corps there were also opponents in the other states of Europe, and I now come to the conclusion those had advantages. My mother being not openly, but for security reasons, into hiding, and that she was, I don't know exactly, I can remember from my birth on how long, and this is of course an allegation, so you can cut that out, but you automatically think about the motives. Why wasn't it communicated openly? But when you think about if these stories, and this is not a good drawing, but I was angry at the moment. I thought maybe Rübezahl could come out and help me a little bit, because there must have been some knowledge about Breslau. Why isn't that communicated at all in Germany? This is not in my interest, and it wasn't in the interest of my mother, but she said to me, maybe in your days, when the old are not there anymore, maybe then you can tell it. In her days, it was not wanted. Some said it was too little and there's no proof. There had been much demolishing, destroying because of war activities in Breslau. But I think I found digitized things, and I will stay that as recorded, uncut. So you understand, I have not even a little bit of support here in Germany, because it is regarded a fairy tale as I were making it up. I'm not making it up, this is on my eyewitness, and when I then called names by doctors, like being someone who is making up, a fairy tale teller or storyteller, then I must have some proof, and I think in the world people could help me. And I had a telephone call, I had to go into English. Normally I think it is not good enough to make precise describing, so please take that into consideration. And I feel like someone treated, I'm not. So I must know, was it maybe that surveillance done in a way it gives me still problems. There was a lookalike around at school time, and about him or about me, people did mix it up. Were things told not good for me. It was about his moral lifestyle, and then he moved away. But I am not allowed to tell anything about a conspiracy. This is forbidden in Germany. I can only say that I'm trying to understand what I myself had lived through. And the descendant line, I came to the conclusion, must be there. And people are withholding. I don't know who that is. This is a hint as well. This man, he is a hero in the Ukrainian area. And I can remember people were coming and they were photographing the post office identity card, and I did not understand why this was, because his name is different to that of the hero in the Ukrainian area. My conclusion, and this is this is an interpretation of the pieces, of the little pieces, is that he was in the military in a secret area. This wasn't told me, and he was a co-worker, or he was someone taking on. This is, of course, speculation, and I must take into consideration, or it is sure, I heard it, so it is sure, she could not tell me everything. She was trying to tell me a little bit about the in the Weimar Republic between 1918 and 1932. She wanted to tell me a little bit, and she had to phone somewhere. I think it was the state Hessen. But it was a time when I was a little boy, not so little as I showed you before. Maybe this, it was the 5th grade, the 6th, maybe the 7th. And there I have remembrances as well. And it goes into the culture group of the persecuted of the Third Reich. They were not openly giving up their identity, not even to me, a classmate. And my mother was a little bit reluctant to let me be with them too much, but they did not want it as well. It was not only scars, wounds of the Third Reich, and this here is to raise awareness. Rübezahl was a fairy tale legend, but my father wasn't. He was really alive, and people came, I don't know, it was Russia back then, I think, to take his photograph, and I let them photograph this, and you see there are similarities, but when I look in his curriculum, he wasn't my father. So there are difficulties. I cannot go too much into speculation, and it is not my ambition. I have to defend my my spiritual, or my, not spiritual, my spirit sanity. This is strange. There's something, it was hidden for so long. Now I come to traces, and it is not wanted, or it is too far away. I don't understand it, and here in Germany, if someone is answering you, it is my, and this is a spiritual song, and they change it a little bit. When I come to my conclusions, those are extraordinary and not heard before. But I myself see extraordinarities in my own life. How can I bring them together? And my explanation, it started at this time, and this must had to do with the diplomatic. Or I don't understand how. I can't go too far. I can't go too far. And those are only to remember. Those who saw me. I can't go too far. It must have to do with some security sector. I don't know. In Germany it is not allowed to build something up that is secret. And the security in this area was supervised, or it was even in the hands of the Allied forces. And I was not too fit. I was pre-born boy. I can remember that I had 3 nurses. And then there was a quick visit. I was warned by a neighbor, there's someone coming, please shy her away, or please block her. She's telling strange things. And then this lady came, and I was not thinking she could know anything about my birth and being raised by her. And she had to fight her way through. She was first with a culture group. I don't knowingly know, maybe people who are members but did not outed, as you might say it, themselves. She had to fight her way through. And then there was a telephone call, and she said she was very upset that I blocked her. I said, this is nonsense, we don't buy anything, meddling not allowed. And then I thought, why is she telling me things I don't know? Why is she telling me things I don't know? Because it was not communicated. So I come to the conclusion it must be for security reasons. I was born abroad, and this must have been, this is me, this must have been, my mother again, those are the raising parents, and I think I was partly carried by this younger mother as well. But is this in the records? I think people must think I'm making these things up. And this is the unluckily and strange family. I was 14 years old, and from then on I understood it was a little bit strange, but I had not a comparison to say it for sure. Here's my younger mother, and those are the men of Breslau. They fought together in the First World War, and this was the time when I was the other way around. I myself call it, in Germany, if you call it burnout, it is always a psychological matter. And this was the time when I had to earn my study, and this did not work out. And I wanted to show you, this is at the age when I tried to build up a career as a successor. Here's my mother, because maybe you can remember it was she. That you know, there is a hidden career. Even as a diplomat, it is not known. And this is not a photo, it is black and white. This is not standing there anymore. And this would fit the description. My mother told me the story of the founding, but she did not tell. It was the hospital. It was not communicated, but I understood it could be the hospital. She was asked what to do. It was then a seniors' residence, and then it was closed and then demolished. But was it the birth hospital? This is a conclusion, so I have to go into many conclusion. And here is something else. She was not supposedly, she was, is it a legend or an urban legend? That she was an actor, my mother as well. They had a conversion inside of Christianity, a change of lifestyle. And this was a group that was very pious. But it was regarded as strange in Germany. They are very sensitive. I don't know why. In America it was normal, and I did not ask why I could travel there. I did not ask it. I was a co-traveller. I was taken as an extra, maybe to help me a little bit, because we had not the money otherwise to travel. Maybe this was when I had the high school diploma, and after that it was difficult, as I showed you on this Oversight. Oh, I took it away. It was working in night shift only, and then I did not come on my feet again, but that was not the problem. The problem now is that my file, my medical file, is dirty. and not really dirty because of me, but because of something that is made up. And this, of course, is in Germany no-go. The doctor's word is holy, but for me it isn't. So I'm feeling I'm in a resistant mode, and because of this breaking bone, or had been broken bone, you can recognize me. This is an identity mark. It is still inside, because it was strange in the hospital, so I don't feel secure. But there is no need for overreaction. Here in Germany, it is, if you give a little bit trouble, it is, in my judgment, not uncommon that the state is defending, but I'm not attacking. I'm only saying I want to know what was hidden. So this couldn't be an attack, or can it? Can it be this is too much to ask for a hidden identity or for a hidden past? And what is with the resistance in Breslau? This is now Wroclaw. Isn't it allowed to ask? And who is the right addressee, the right entity to ask? Maybe you can help, and the email address is possible to find on YouTube and on the domains. Thank you very much.